Testing, testing. Okay, looks like we've got some good sound here. And we'll just get rid of that banner and we'll get started and looking like everything is okay with the video. Sneak by my sort of tight quarters, but so today I thought we'd work with some Pilates and strength. And I have my strap and I have a set of weights. And if you have two sets of weights, lighter and medium or lighter and heavy, those are really nice to have too. So let's get started. We're going to just do a nice, well-rounded practice. We'll see what comes out as far as maybe some kind of theme that feels good today. And yeah, okay. So I thought we'd start with your strap and you can grab onto your strap. This will be a little bit longer class. I'm hoping we're going to hit 30 to 45 minutes. We'll just kind of see what happens. Hope everybody's having a good morning or evening, whichever time of day. Maybe it's midday. Go ahead and take hold of your strap and give it a nice tug so you check in with your upper body, noticing how that requires the shoulders to be uh, the shoulder muscles around the scapula muscles around the all of the pieces of the shoulder show up there and release and just see how it feels to be in a default, right? Like however your arms hang, and then let's pull again and release and then pull and release and pull and release. So we've been bringing our attention to the shoulders. Now I want you to just notice your lower body. We're going to continue to pull and release, but notice if your knees are locked. Notice if you're gripping in your tail, meaning you're kind of tucking your pelvis under, or there's some kind of work there happening. See if we can relax the lower body, really send our weight down into the feet as we pull and still feel that nice work for the shoulders. Pull, pull. Good. Let's lift to shoulder height and down. As much or as little tension on that strap as you'd like. Good. Let's pause up here. Elbows have that nice bend. It's almost like I'm almost going to bend my elbows enough to send those laser beams out the elbows, but not quite that much. Pull. Notice if you're tucking your tail under. Notice if those knees get locked. Maybe even wiggle your toes. Good. And release. And notice how your body feels supported up here, or maybe that it feels a little tired, or sometimes I notice my arms, I really feel like they're kind of just really hanging out of my body, and this helps kind of collect me back into the center. Um, Maybe I'm a little, I just, it starts to hurt. I start to feel like my arms have been down too long. But let's take that nice pull. And now we are going to bend the elbows, pull back toward the chest, and push, pull, and push. And I'll turn to the side. I'm not coming necessarily all the way to touch my chest. I'm really wanting to have that pull with the strap, pull, release, pull, release, pull, release. Good. Pull, pause here, and bring that down. Good. Taking a breath in, seeing what it feels like in the shoulders. All right, we did some pulls, kind of this horizontal. Let's do some pulls from overhead. Give that a nice tug up here. See how that feels. Again, I'm a little bit thinking about laser beams out my elbow tips, stretching it upward, almost straight elbows, and then down either to the top of your head or just grazing the back of the head. Top of the head, graze the back. Keep pulling. Top of the head, graze the back, top, and graze, top, and graze, top, and graze. Keeping that tug, top, top, top. Try to keep your head right where it was. It can feel like maybe you should move your head out of the way. Try to keep it straight on and bring that down back and up and come all the way around. And again, let's check in with seeing how we feel in the shoulders. Do we feel a little more collected, like they can hold our arm weight, a little bit better? You may or may not have that sense. So we're all built a little differently. Okay, great. So let's keep our band. Why not? Keep our strap at hand. We could maybe use it some more. Bringing your feet to Pilates V. Spreading the toes out, bending the knees, and straightening. Bending the knees and straightening. Bend, bend, bend. Hands are a little bit closer together here. I've got my band turned over one more time. Still a little bit of bend in the elbows, but really not as much as I can when my arms are or my hands are further apart. Come down and pause here. Good. Let's lift the heels and lower. Lift and lower. See if you can keep them together. So that might be just a little centimeter that you're lifting up and down, up and down, up. Good. This time lift up, push up through straight knees and lower. Bend, lift, straighten, and lower. Bend, lift, straighten, and lower. Bend, lift, straighten, and down. Let's go straight up and bend. Pause here. Lower the heels without straightening the knees. Straighten up. Up. Bend the knees. Lower the heels. Now straighten the knees. Up. Bend. Lower. Straighten. Good. And coming down with the arms. Checking in with this nice upper body space here. Good. Let's come down to hands and knees then. Finding your way down to tabletop. If you need to, putting padding underneath the knees. I've got a couple of mats here. So if you've got a Pilates mat, or if you have 2 yoga mats, that can be nice for some of the work we do in the Pilates work, both on our front and on our back. Okay, so then just noticing the weight now coming into the hands, into the fingers. Notice the weight in the fingers. See if you can bring some attention to fingers, each of those fingers. And the primary sensation might be in the hands. Let's bring our awareness again then to what happens as it travels up into our shoulders. Noticing that pushing the floor away. We almost want to start rounding our spine. See if you can just push away without rounding the spine. Pushing into the floor without locking the elbows. There's just a little bit of movement or bend in those elbows, very micro. Good. Coming up on the fingertips to work with the hands here a little bit and making sure we have full use of our whole hand here. I'm just going to walk around. It's like walking around on your tippy toes, only you're walking around on the tips of the fingers with a little weight here. If it's too much weight, you can take your weight back, further back toward your heels, or keep your weight right over your hips. Turning those hands. Good. Coming back to underneath the shoulders. Great. All right, let's take those hands down. And we're going to take the top of the hand now. I'll move toward you just a little. I don't have that double camera. I'm going to bring the top of the hand down. And again, I'm not putting too much weight here. I'm not trying to hold myself up, just reaching the thumbs, fingers out. The top of the hand gets a little wake up as well. And there's definitely some stretching in there for fascia from the top of the arm coming down for sure in my own body. And then I'm going to come back to the palms, feeling the palms again. All right, one more for the hands, coming down to the elbows, a karate chop. So the side of your hand, getting some attention here, pushing down. Again, if my weight, I can take my weight way back. I can take my weight a little more forward, really pushing down through my elbows, the forearms. We might use this again in our practice. Good. And then coming off of that. Right. So let's take that work into what else can we work with here in the shoulders here at the outset of our practice. And I'm going to, so from your hands underneath your shoulders, you can see where I've got that nicely lined up. And then the length of my hand, I'm just going to look at that. And I'm going to put my palm right where the end of my fingertip is. So I'm going to put it forward that much. That's usually, we'll just see. We'll see how that works. So I'm going to put my hands out that much further, the length of my hand. And then as I come down, I'm going to take my elbows down toward the floor, but I'm also going to take them toward each other. So they do this swooping in movement. Move toward the camera again so you can see head on what I'm talking about. So the hand is a little bit ahead of my shoulders. Here would be underneath my shoulders. I've moved it up. And then as I come down, I'm going to come in and find that the elbows coming then underneath my shoulders. But what we're going to do is we're going to bring that swinging in and we're going to hover. So the elbow is underneath the shoulders, but I'm not resting on it quite yet. I'm going to work with just elbows toward each other, hovering, palms are pressing, and I'm going to come back up. Feeling that work in the upper body a little bit. I'll come back to the side view. I'm going to swing in, hover, come back up. Swing in, hover. Now, I can't see very well what I'm doing with my hips, but the tendency is to come down to move my hips way back. And then my upper arm is at an angle, right? I'm trying to get so that I'm actually above my shoulder. That's where it's going to be the most work for my shoulder and the most benefit. So I'm going to try to make sure I'm not moving back with my hips. And then I'm going to come back up. Let's do one more, two more here. Pause. Elbows want to move toward each other. I'm going to hover, really feeling the hands press. The forearms want to rest. And those triceps. Go ahead and come down. This time, rest the elbows down. You're still wanting to, if anything, if you're going to roll on the flesh at all, roll inward. Roll toward each other. Press down. Keep that nice and open in the chest. We want to be nice and working in the body. We could come to even your karate chop arms if you'd like to here, where the fingers side of the hand, pinky side of the hand is pressing down. Karate chop, press through the whole upper body. And then let's rest back. Taking a nice deep breath. Another nice deep breath. This is a great space to do that. Filling up the upper back. Oh, nice little stretch. Good. Okay. So let's take that work, as long as we're here, hands and knees. We're going to take a little more of the weight off of the knees. Still nice to have that padding. And we're going to come forward. Bring the hands out. So we did some work with the hands closer together. Now bring them outward. Notice how my knees are back. They're not directly underneath my hips because I want to come into a knee down plank. Let the head come up. Let the seat come down just enough. This would be too much. Letting those hips come down too much. I'm not using enough of my core. This would be too far up, right? See if you can find that just right spot for yourself in your plank position. Pushing the floor away, trying to have that open space in the upper body. 3, 2, 1. We're going to slowly lower down. Very close to my step here. And now bring your hands in closer to your body. Inhaling here, exhaling. Nice length in the spine. So as we come here, I'll think about, can I reach my head out of my collarbones? Can I reach through the back of my neck? More so than tipping my head up, I'm seeing if I can just keep that nice lift through the crown of my head. And I also can feel like I'm sort of bringing the back of my head upward just a little bit. Notice how close my face is still to the floor with that. I'm going to take a breath here and then see if you can lift that back of the head up just a little more. Let's add an exhale. Let's take a breath. With this exhale, let's press down with the hands. See if you can lift your chest. See if you can lift your belly, your ribs, maybe even the hips coming up all together, lowering down. So now the hands are closer and together. If that feels pinched for you, if that doesn't feel very good, you can take the hands wider. That's fine. If you want to keep your elbows kind of in toward the body, we're working more with the triceps that way. So we're going to take a breath in, lift the nose and chin, but not outward, right? Just lifting the head back, and then exhale, press all the way up to the knees, lower down. Inhale, exhale, press, lower down. We get that nice movement on the way down as well. Can we lower everything together? What we can see is that we'll sometimes do it in pieces. We'll lift this part, then we'll lift this part, then finally we'll kind of bring the hips up. But we're trying to work toward lowering everything together, pushing everything up together. And then let's reach back. Go ahead and keep the hands planted, reaching the hips back. It doesn't mean that you have to bend your knees a lot. We can get a nice long stretch there for the upper body, especially around the armpit and shoulder area. Nice deep breath to encourage that. Good. And then walking the feet underneath you. Let's come to a roll, a forward fold, letting the head go, and then rolling up, feeling the belly as you roll up, and coming up to standing and just noticing how that feels in the upper body again. You feel like you have some space here. Sometimes we can tend to get into those habits of being a little more forward with the shoulders, or that sense that I talked about a few minutes ago, like the arms not feeling connected or feeling supported by our shoulder muscles. And actually, that's all the way into the upper back too, right? All right, so let's go into some, um, yeah, a little bit of weight work here. I'm gonna just grab, I've got kind of middle of the road ones for my strength right now, but 5s to 8s would be appropriate. And I'm gonna take that nice wide stride. Also probably gonna not need my socks. Take those off. So here we are, taking that wide stride here to do a couple of our sumo like squats. So take your weights down and push up, down and push up, down and up and down and up. Good. So what's happening in an upper body? If we're sensing the feet to start with, primary movement here, feet, legs, the knees, ankles, and hips all getting to bend here. And then we're taking these weights forward. So let's be careful that we're not letting the weights pull everything forward and just kind of keep us there. Maybe at the top, you can readjust. Maybe they don't go down as far. You just want to keep the upper body a little more open, a little more engaged, so that they can reach down. But yeah, 3, 2, 1. All right. Bring the feet underneath you. Good. Let's lift one heel up. You can lift all the way up to the tippy toes. Feeling those toes. Nice to see if we can get the pinky involved, pinky toe. And then we're going to do some bicep curls here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Feel both feet. 10. Lift the other foot. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. All right, got a little balance in, kind of checking that out. Maybe you saw me tapping my foot a little. I'm just gonna wipe, getting sweaty today. Sometimes that happens. Um, yeah, and then I want to work with hinge. So I'll start without my weights. You can always use your weights as you feel comfortable. So in the hinge, put that over there. It's nice to have something to hang on to. We have the back of the chair, back of your couch, I don't know, whatever's in your space. Even a fingertip at the wall is nice. So having a fingertip, couple of fingertips, but you can very lightly have that touch. We're going to take our weight to one side, lift up that other. I'm going to just do the outside foot here, doesn't really matter. And I'm going to take it back, forward and back, forward and back, up and back. I'm going to keep that contact with the floor, especially if I've been a little riled up in my life. I might keep that there rather than getting nice and wild with my leg. I'm going to be mindful about keeping that toe on the floor. If you're feeling pretty grounded, life has been pretty solid, or maybe not as much to deal with at the moment. So grateful for those times. Maybe you're swinging. But again, we're going to hinge working with this hip, but we're also going to be controlled about that. Pilates is about the control. So if you'd like, you can pause here and just take a little look, especially if you have your finger on something. What's my toe doing back there? A lot of times I'll see people in class, their toe turns out. So you can turn it toward the floor and come forward, lift it up, reach it back, toes toward the floor, up. The further we go up with that leg in the back, the more the torso comes forward. You could have your weights in hand here. You could have them close to the body. You could have them reaching out, or you can be doing like I'm doing, pretend weights here and moving the arms. Lots of work for my standing leg. I'm going to pause here, reaching back, toes toward the floor. 3, 2, 1. Bringing the feet down. Good. And back to center and noticing. So we didn't talk much about upper body there. What was the upper body? That's probably like the secondary place to look, right? We were really concerned with all the other things we were doing. We had balance and we had what way is my foot going and so on. So starting with our second side, front and back. And again, important, at least for me in my practice, it seems like it's been helpful to really sense the ground. And also as I go back, I can sense how straight my leg is to find my toes back here. I could do this, I guess, but can I reach back? Nice straight leg. Nice straight leg. Tap, tap, lift, 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 lift. Lost my balance with putting my weight in. Up, lift, lift, lift. Remember how we looked back to see what are my toes doing on this side with my hand on something that can be helpful. Ooh, I switched my weight again. Switching. I could also take that one weight. I have a 7 pounder out in front, out in front, or right at the chest, right at the chest. Maybe it doesn't go as far out. Three, two, let's hold it. One. Really straight leg back there, toes toward the floor, and coming back to standing. Oh, feeling it on my second side, the standing leg. Really happily finding that. Let's work with our triceps. So we did work with the triceps already on the hands and knees. Let's give them another dose. Coming in at the side body, we're going to treat that same upper body openness, especially in the front body, right? Kind of trying to keep the collarbones wide. Elbows come back and they pause here. Notice if the shoulder blades are still hanging forward. Can the shoulder blades snug in toward each other or snug onto the back a little bit, opening that upper body, then press back. Danger here is to swing forward. Try not to swing forward. Push, push, slow it down. Push, extend, slow it down. Push, extend, slow it down. Push, 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 push. Two more. Slow it down on the swing. Really slow it down. Slow it down on the swing. Good. And coming back here. All right. Can hold on to those weights. We'll go back to that lower body a little bit. We're going to do some curtsy lunges. So we'll start really small and we'll get a little bigger. Your space, you'll have to check in. I don't have a ton of space behind me, but I'll show those um, slowly. So I'm going to put one foot behind. I'm going to get a little bit of a bend in that front knee. Little curtsy lunge back behind me. Very mindful. You could do this with the chair. You could do one side. And then that foot can go further back. The further back it reaches or across that it reaches, the more bend required in that front leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Okay. Whew. Let's take your weights and let's work with the flies a little bit. I feel like those would be the most advantageous for, again, working this upper body. In order to open up the front, we need to strengthen the back. So those back muscles can be kind of stretched out to let us come forward. So I'll do this one without weights, and then you can also add your weights. You might add your lighter weights to start. So nice, strong stance. I've got my feet kind of wide, took my seat behind me, nice straight spine, core helping to hold me in and hold me up. And I'm going to take those weights out and come back, out and back to front. You don't have to go as far as you can back here. I'm going to grab a weight just for a little while here. Mine are pretty heavy for this for me, so I will probably only get in a few. But lighter weights, I would be able to do 20 or so. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Lower those weights down. Let your head come down. Nice deep breath. Full breath out. Nice deep breath again. Full breath out. Good. We're going to lift those weights up. And take your big wide stride again. Toes turning out. And take the weights down. Good. Come up. Lift the weights. Overhead. Let's get in 3 overhead. 2, 1. Put the weights down. This time, lift your seat. Let your head come down. Put your seat back down. Take a weight up, the other weight. Push up overhead 3 times. 2, 1. Come on down. Seat comes up. Head comes down. Seat comes down. Head automatically is going to start to come up. Lift those weights up. Overhead 3, 2, 1. All the way down. Lift. Down. Other hand comes up. Then the second. Push. Up. 2, 1. All the way down. Lift the seat, let the head come down. A little stretch there if you'd like. Seat comes back down. Hand. Hand, push with the legs. 3, 2, 1. Let's come down. Seat comes up, head comes down. Seat comes down, head and hands start to come up. Push up. 3, 2, 1. Good. Bring your feet underneath you. Very nice. Time to come down to the floor already. Let's do that. All the way down. Ooh. Letting your, just noticing as you come down to the floor here. Of course, I'm still breathing from doing those. Can't remember what the guy, I saw those online and I thought, oh, those look like fun. Can't remember what he called them. Goddess, yoga squats, I don't know, something like that. So then let's work a little more specifically in some more Pilates repertoire. Let's take the hands behind the head, interlacing the fingers, hands behind the head. And then I want you to think about, again, where are my elbows? What is my upper body doing as I do the mini crunch? If I'm working on keeping this upper body collarbones broad, what do I want to do in this pose? Can I reach out through my armpits? Elbows can still come up a little. Through the armpits, I'm going to reach broadly through my armpit arms, armpit shoulders, and still curl upward. Find my way up into that mini crunch. Broadening out the humeral heads or out my armpits, out to the sides. 3, 2, 1. Slowly coming back. 3, 2, 1. Resting the head, resting the elbows. But here we might feel like, well, with my arms just stretched out like this, my elbows out to the sides, I can really feel that that broadening maybe in the collarbones. Can we keep that even as the elbows come up? There's still this idea of a lengthening, right out the armpit, coming up, finding my way up, shoulders as far away as I can, shoulder blades as far away as I can. I'm not taking the chin all the way to the chest here. I'm gonna let my head still rest in the hands a little bit. This time, let's bring the knees over the hips. This time, let's bring one hand behind each knee. Broad with the elbows, reaching with the elbows, even pulling a little bit to get up a little bit further. Gives us an idea. Letting go a little bit with the fingers, so just being very light with the hands there. 3, 2, 1. Feet down, lowering back, bring the hands back behind the head. And relaxing the face and jaw. Bringing those elbows into place, still reaching out best we can, imagining we could reach our arms. I don't know what image I need, like a clothesline reaching out or something that can extend past my my physical body and coming up, keeping things nice and open in the chest area, bringing one hand behind and the other, noticing how I can give myself just a little boost. And yet I'm going to take those hands away or very lightly keep them there. Let's go with the 100. You can straighten the legs a little bit more, keep the feet connected, at least at the heel. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and exhale. 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 Last one. Inhale and exhale. Good. And coming down. Ooh, smooth out the throat just a little bit. I think it's been a little bit of time since I've actually done. I think we must have done 9 or 10 breaths. That's what we're looking for in the 100. Take a breath in. Relax the shoulders back. Smooth down the front of the throat here. Maybe even into the chest, into those collarbones. Sometimes I bring my fingers right into the collarbones there. It's a little tender in there, so be careful. You can be very gentle, but I might just give myself a little massage or a little pressure right inside those collarbones. Gently. And then coming back. Bring the back of the neck long again. Bring the hands alongside the body. Let's bring the knees up. And we're going to reach one foot out and then reach the other. One knee in, other knee in. Reach, 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 reach. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Hands behind the head. Coming up. Same thing. Supporting the head here or taking the hands to the knee. In, in. Gonna exhale every time either my left leg knee comes in or my right knee, whatever breath cycle you're on. I breathe on the other one. Bringing the legs down, upper body comes back. Good. Working a little more with stomach series. Fun times. So, the other one with stomach series, let's do a little knee folds and then we'll engage with that. So, bringing the knees over the hips and remembering that the further your shins are up, the harder this is. So, maybe the shins drop. And I'm just going to let that knee drop away from me, drop away from me, heel tap. Let's do alternating tap, tap. Rest of the body really nice and steady. Tap and tap and tap and tap. And 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. And we got to do one more because I started on 5 and we have 2 legs. And 1. Good. Bringing the legs down, relaxing. Maybe you were using your back a little bit. Maybe you're using your glutes a little bit too much. Good. Now we're going to take that from single knee folds to double. So the feet might come together or they can stay apart, but you can try it either way. The knees don't have to be touching, but they can be fairly close. Again, the harder it'll be if my shins are up. So I'm going to let my shins drop a little bit. Tap and lift. Tap and lift. Tap and lift. Tap and lift. 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Bringing those legs in, maybe letting the weight of the legs rest so that you can feel the weight coming into just the ridge of that pelvis on the back body. I'm gonna kind of give myself a little massage here. All right. So if we want to continue with our stomach series, we're going to bring the legs upward. Let's bring the hands down at our sides, connect into Pilates V, heels together. Not too straight in the legs though. Let them be a little soft, and then bring your attention to that low belly. Low belly really on. If we're gonna bring our attention anywhere, it's there first. Low belly, low belly. Hands behind the head. Finding our way upward. Still open in the upper body. Maybe lowering a little bit more. Still have a little softness in my knees, just so I can keep things in the belly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring those legs up toward the ceiling, bend the knees, bring the upper body back. Oh, so very happy to be done with that one. Good. Enjoying the broadness across the chest. All right. So let's see how it feels then to straighten the leg a little bit more, bringing it in toward you. Let's do toe, heel, toe, heel. Now, when you bring the knee in, if it's not quite that straight, that's okay. You could also let the leg be down here and do that toe, heel. A little straighter leg. Toe, heel. Really reaching through all the toes, reaching through the heel to pause there and bring that knee down. Other leg, whether it's here, we can start there, more angled, toe, heel, toe. Nice straight leg though. Maybe that leg could come toward me a little bit. Reaching through all the toes. Maybe that leg can come in toward me a little bit. Good. So with this leg up here, or maybe I'm going to bend my knee a little bit just to see what happens if I bring my upper body up. Again, trying to be really broad in my upper body probably means I want to bring my elbows out to the side a little bit. And I'm going to see about straightening that leg, pulling it toward me, just a little pulse and switch. I'm going to bring both legs up, just a little pulse and switch. Pulse and switch. Dropping the other leg. Keeping my upper body best as I can, really keeping that belly on to support the upper body. Really use the belly so we don't use the throat. 3, 2, all right, one again. 1. Worked, started with an odd number. All right, come on back. If you need to, remind yourself. Throat, be free. Very good. All right, let's end with just a little bit on the belly. Maybe you want to do a little stretch like I am, knees over to the side. I'm not gonna push it here too much, just gonna give my inside knee just a little reach. My inside knee, a little reach. My inside knee, a little windshield wiper. Feet are kind of far apart here on the edges of the mat. Not trying to do anything wild with my low back. That's not the aim. I'm gonna let the professionals take care of my low back if there's any issue, but this is hopefully so we have no issues in the low back, right? That's why we're here. All right, ending on the belly here. Nose and chin to the floor, hands near the chest. Reaching back with one foot so much that we lift that leg nice and straight, lifting up, and then letting that opposite hand reach out. Maybe the nose and chin lift. Remember how we lifted earlier? The head came up, like the back of the head wanted to find the ceiling, right? Not so much that we wanted the crown of the head to find the ceiling. The crown of the head still somewhat toward the baseboards. Opposite limbs lifting, reaching, and coming back down to where we started. Opposite leg, let's take that other leg up. Reach, reach, reach so much that that leg lifts. Pelvis is completely planted. Upper body nice and broad in the upper body. Reaching that other hand out. Maybe letting the chest lift a little. With the head, back of the head reaching up. Keep things, especially if you come up a lot, you're gonna keep things really working here in the belly. Otherwise, keep it a little lower. Let some of your leg muscles do this work here. The glutes might do it. Make sure you've got some hamstring going. Bring everything back. Nice deep breath. Full breath out. Good. I'm gonna scoot back just so I've got a little more room here, reaching both feet back. Toes toward the floor. Nice straight legs. Upper body lifting those hands off, reaching them out, pulling down air pulls. So I'm going to pull back, elbows come in. I'm going to reach out, elbows pull in at the end. Legs lifted, or they could be really quite a bit closer to the floor, still reaching. If you're feeling that in the back at all, lower the legs. We're going to do 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Bring the hands to the floor. Push down. We're going to inhale, exhale, push down all the way up like we did earlier. Stretch back into a cat pose or a modified cat and downward dog-like position or child's pose, and get really long with the low back here, pulling in the belly, letting the head come down. Breath, breath. All right, and then coming to seated. I think we'll call it good right there. Take a few minutes if you have it to put your legs up the wall or use the strap for your legs and just rest the body or rest in constructive rest. Or with your legs stretched out in a little bit of a assimilation pose. But we'll call this one good. And I hope you have a really great day. And let me know how it went for you. And happy to see some comments. Or I have a Facebook page. I have a YouTube page. So maybe there's some way we can communicate. Or let the people at Spring know that you watched and how it went. Great. Have a good day. Bye bye.